Thank you. So my name is Clifford Russell. I work for the Farm Service Agency. The Farm Service Agency is made up of two different portions. Uh, there are what we consider farm programs that are there to help support farmers and ranchers, urban farmers and ranchers that are of any different size that are currently in business. And then there are also what we call farm loan programs. And Tyra, who's be speaking next, is going to be talking about that portion of it. So today I'm just going to talk about the Farm Service Agency farm programs. Most of the stuff that we do is based around uh, people that are currently producing some sort of agricultural commodity. Uh, but we also do the eligibility paperwork for um, the help with the NRCS. So we're kind of a sister agency with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. And so uh, she just mentioned when she was talking about it, the different uh, types of forms that they would have to be prepared to fill out. So some of the forms you might have to fill out are what we call the customer data worksheet. And what it is it's a form that no matter who you're dealing with, whether it's Natural Resource Conservation Service or whether it's Farm Service Agency, we have to get you in the system. And so that's kind of the first step is to fill out a customer data worksheet for whether it is you as an individual or an limited liability company or corporation, and we want the information on the entity and then on the individuals. Um, and then she talked about the highly erodible and wetlands stuff, and that's what that is. A conservation certification is pretty much stating that you're not going to go out and destroy highly erodible lands or wetlands. That you're going to try to protect those. Part of the Dust Bowl era stuff to make sure we don't do that again. Um, One of the other things you will need to fill out is an adjusted gross income certification. And what it is it just says that you make less than adjusted gross income of less than $900,000 a year. And so, and then what we have you do is fill out a farm operating plan. And that's just basically just some basic information about your operation. Um, and so those are the forms, whether you're coming in for the Natural Resource Conservation Service or Farm Service Agency, that just kind of gets you in the system, gets it to where uh, ourselves or Natural Resource Conservation Service can help you uh, and start planning projects. Um, One of the next things I want to talk about is the organic uh, cost share certification program. And what it is if you're sitting there and you've got some vegetables or something like that you're growing, that you're wanting to go to an organic certified uh, status with the state, that you can, and that the Farm Service Agency can help you with that transition process. So what you do is if you're planning on crops, livestock, pretty much anything where it would require you to be certified, whether it's just even the handling of it. We do get some applications for even just the handling of uh, organic crops so that they can continue to be considered organic. What we do is we cover 75% of the cost, up to $750 for each one of those different categories. And so sometimes it might be you might be growing it, you might also be handling it. So you might have to have two different certifications. And so what we do on that is you'd end up bringing in uh, your receipt from when you had uh, received the certification, what it cost you, and then the actual certificate itself. And then we could help you to get reimbursed on that. And that isn't just for the transition, but it's also any year that you are certifying to get your organic certification. So at this point, they have not yet give us the funding. They haven't flipped us over from 2023. They're trying to finish up everything from 2023, and but we're working into getting the 2024 program year up and going. And so probably this spring we'll be receiving or accepting applications. It'll probably be later in the spring, but we'll start looking at people that certified and would like to be reimbursed for things back from October 1st to September 30th of this coming year. Um, so if that's something that you're interested in, that is one of the um, programs that we can do to help you move from uh, that conventional to uh, organic phase in your life. There is some more information on this uh, website here that you can use to learn more about the organic cost share. They're constantly changing it, uh, enhancing some of the different things that you can do, and changing some of the sometimes even just getting the education you need to find out whether that's something you want to do. And so there is always constant changes in the federal government. Um, One of the other things that we provide on the program side that I feel will probably be beneficial to some of the operators, if you guys have crops, uh, is what they call the NAP insurance or non-insurable crop insurance. So if you can't get insurance on a crop, say like you have an acre of vegetables and the crop insurance, there isn't any crop insurance available for it, then Farm Service Agency can come in and provide an insurance on those crops. The biggest thing is it's just like your normal crop insurance, is it's there to protect against crop losses and stuff associated with natural disaster. And so it doesn't really get into management, but it's all based on uh, whether something bad happens or not. Uh, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to plan for after you get a big investment in your property. Some of the things, though, is that not everything is insurable by us. If it's insurable by the crop insurance, then that's where you'll need to go. But if it isn't insurable by crop insurance, then we can usually provide either a catastrophic layer or level of insurance, or a what we consider a buy-up level, which provides a higher payment back on it with a premium attached to it. Some of the things that obviously we would end up running into in Utah would be drought. If you're like in 2022 when we were getting our water cut back, uh, and you wasn't able to irrigate all the acres. We've had some late freezes into the spring, or sometimes even freezes that were into the summer, hailstorms that come through and just devastate your plants, flooding, sometimes wind that comes through in these microbursts and just level your fields. Those are all things that could be there: floods, earthquakes, uh, that excessive heat, insect infestation. Um, One thing is it has to be something that happens during the coverage period. Um, so for vegetables, for instance, is usually has a March to April sign up period for that. So before we plant, and then it goes through the year. Um, and so anytime that you would have insurance like this, you have to uh, tell Farm Service Agency that you've had a loss, or or planning to see a loss from maybe a hailstorm that came through, but you're not sure how bad it hurt your plants. Uh, that is one of the things. The catastrophic level is that I just was telling you about, was the 50 and 55%. So it covers 50% of the production and 55% of the market price for the crops, which is really just a catastrophic level. You pretty much have to have everything destroyed before it really kicks in, but it does give you a really a cheap option. Will cover as much ground as you have for $325. Um, but if you're looking at vegetables or something like that, then maybe uh, you have a lot more invested in, you want a higher coverage rate, you can go up to a 65% of your yield and 100% of the price. And it's usually a pretty easy premium to deal with. Um, but it does start covering at that point to where you can recover if you've had some sort of loss, that it will at least take the bite out of the loss to where you can continue an operation and survive uh, through some of the hard times associated with farming that seem to always arise. Um, if you are a beginning farmer or socially disadvantaged or limited resource, then you do get your um, fee waived for the initial $325, um, so that you automatically are essentially covered through the NAP insurance without any premium there. And then if you do the buy up option, it does cut your premiums by half. Uh, and so for even that coverage, it becomes a really cheap option at that point, um, to provide some protection in your operation, no matter the size. Everything's based on acreage and what you're producing. So if you're a smaller acreage, then that premium goes down with it. Um, so as far as if you have any questions on uh, any of these programs, and there is a lot more programs, and they're constantly changing, depending on what uh, the administration sees or Congress sees as issues. There's always constantly changing um, programs out there for producers. Uh, I mean, recently we had COVID uh, programs. We currently have a program specifically looking at 2022 disaster. Uh, and so there's different programs that are constantly out there. The best way to keep up with it is through our fact sheets on this website here. And what it does is it provides what the up-to-date fact sheets are on any of the programs and gives you a way to kind of keep up to date with, yeah, current programs. Or you can contact myself, or on that same website that our issue was showing, finding your local office. Uh, but I'm always willing to take any phone calls or anything like that. Are there any questions that anybody has?